Hey, how's it going? Um, so I think comparatively to the previous couple of days, I think I'm doing a little better, mentally and emotionally and whatnot. Um, and I think a little bit of that has to do with uh, some theories and hypotheses I've been testing and whatnot. Um, if that makes any sense at all. So let me kind of just start from the beginning. All right. So the I think the last video that I put out, I made a comment about how emotion and whatnot can have uh, a huge effect on mental and physical and emotional health and all that. And if I didn't, then well, there you go. There's a summary. Um, so in in trying to kind of understand that and myself a little bit better, um, I figured I'd try to, put myself through a couple of emotion tests, if that makes sense. Um, kind of forcing myself to experience certain kinds of emotion that one would experience more or less in a day to day. And Yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm gonna be trying to document everything as much as I can, but I'm trying to treat this like a science experiment. Um, like I said, theories, hypotheses, uh, and testing. So, to begin with, um, sad. I've been dealing with that one for quite a bit. I know that if I don't let myself feel sad, my brain starts to deteriorate, it feels like, or it seems like, and it starts to kind of passively make me feel more uh, sad or depressed, and that would usually lead further into depression. Um, I had, like exhaustion, which, in my opinion, is a form of an emotion. You can just be exhausted of certain things. Physically exhausted, emotionally exhausted. Um, so I tried, trying to document what I could remember from the past couple of days that I hadn't been able to sleep. And yeah, that sets my mind to a jumble. The closest thing I can possibly explain to what it feels like to be insane. Um, so, not fun. I didn't do any of that one on purpose, unfortunately. Wish I would have been able to, you know, deal with all of that in a little more of a controlled environment, but, whatever. We'll deal with what I can. Um, let's see. I know that there's a couple more, but I haven't actually been. I haven't written any of this down just yet. I've written down some of it, but it's scattered. It's just a little bit of everywhere. Um, the most recent one, uh, I don't know that I can really talk about um, on this platform at least. You know, um, but let's just say I experimented, or not really experiment. I experienced that emotion as opposed to depriving myself of it um, for a long period of time, and yeah. So without actually experiencing that one specifically, I notice I get a lot more aggressive. Um, my I don't know, everything just kind of seems clouded. I don't really have a specific focus in my mind of what I need or want to do. Um, but, it's helpful that I have somebody here that can help me. Um, and then one of the last ones, I guess, because I can't remember any other off the top of my head, um, is like happiness, joy, um, satisfaction, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain that one particularly. Uh, so this is the one that I've kind of been working on the longest, I guess. But it's the one that I have the biggest story for, and it sounds stupid, but just hear me out. So I've been watching a TV show for a little while, and I've talked about it before, the whole Agents of Shield thing, and it's been making me, happy enough. It's been keeping me entertained. It makes me upset every once in a while, but uh, I learn from that. Um, but there's a particular thing that I've been kind of like wanting really, and that is some amount of like good closure, which this show doesn't really seem to be that good at. Typically, in my opinion, uh, closure in a show is the very end of the very end of a series or whatever, and everything wraps up perfectly with a nice little bow, and very few questions are asked anymore at that point. If there is another season, then things will pick up in the next season. But I do understand the idea of teasing the next season with something that happens towards the very very end of that last conclusive episode kind of thing. Um, I realize I'm not really helping. Essentially, they're not really great at that, in my opinion. When they try to conclude something, it just ends up making things a shitload worse. And when you think something good's gonna happen, something bad happens, and then that becomes the entire focus of the next season or, you know, main chapter. Um, but something that I was actually really happy about, like genuinely happy about, and I don't know why, but for some reason it's been something that's kind of been popping up a lot in media around me. A lot more than I think is random, I guess. Um, so basically, these two characters who have been together essentially since the very beginning of this show. I'm on fucking season 5 now, and they're really long episodes. Um, these two characters, um, they're very very close, but not like together, I guess. And they go through almost literally hell and back numerous times, each experiencing different horrific events, you know, that would just fucking make anybody go insane or die. And it finally comes to this one episode that, and this is a spoiler, they finally get married. Like, after everything that they've been through, and they, like, weirdly enough, I'm not usually affected by something like that. That doesn't usually, bring joy or anything like that. It's usually just like, okay, these two people are able to consummate a relationship with something like that. That's good, you know? But I actually caught myself crying at it because, like, they do a very good job of making you very attached to these characters. So, when all that happened, I guess I felt that little bit of a uh, extremely satisfying ending to something, you know? The beginning of something new. But it was like happy cry, if that makes sense. something that I don't really know that I've experienced too much in the past. Uh, Very few accounts of me actually genuinely being happy, unfortunately. Um, but I do try to, remember the happy moments. Um, but being deprived of happiness in general is torture. Anything that can, bring you some amount of like satisfaction like that, I feel is worth keeping in your life. I mean, it's a really bad example, but you know what I mean. Like, my buttons. Like little things that have been able to make me happy. Like, so here's another example. In the mornings, or when I'm just giving food to the cats, um, I have to give each of them a treat because it keeps the little one distracted for long enough for me to give the older one her medicines and whatnot, and it allows her to take her medicine more willingly. So, yeah, whenever I do give the little one her treat, though, I usually like toss it, like across the kitchen, which isn't very far, but it's far enough for her to, get all excited and want to like chase and play with it and then, get the reward of eating it. And for some reason, that just makes my heart just well with warmth. And it just makes me smile every single time. I don't think that there's a moment that I could see that and not just be happy. Um, I was gonna say there's like little things like Lily will do that just absolutely make me happy. Like I don't really want to go too much into our like personal relationship, but she's got a very she's got an innocence to her that just makes me smile, Like whenever she's, acting the way she does when she's like really happy about something or just like really energetic, just bouncing off the walls, it just makes me smile. Um, but yeah, I am gonna try to continue to learn a little more. I don't know if it's healthy to be using yourself as like a human guinea pig for experiments regarding the emotions, but it's what I have access to. It's what I can do at the moment. So and hopefully in the long run it'll bear some fruit in terms of figuring out how to cure my negative emotion or emotion deprivation that I seem to experience quite often. So, yeah, I'm using myself as a human guinea pig. But hey, you know what? If for some weird reason in the long run, this can benefit more people than just myself, then I don't see a downside, you know? Plus, it's not like I'm really hurting anybody. I mean, granted, it sucks for me sometimes, but I don't feel like an experiment like that would be something that would be fair on anybody else, and I wouldn't be able to understand the consequences of certain things anymore unless they were happening to me. You know, like you can't really describe happiness in a way that is quantifiable. It's not easily measured, I guess. Uh, Now, if only I had like EEG equipment, I would love to, actually get a test of experiencing some of these things and maybe even documenting some of my seizures. Um, though I don't want to sleep with that kind of gear on, I feel like if I can get something from it and learn something from it, maybe maybe I can help somebody, you know? So, yeah. That's kind of what I've been doing, um, or at least been taking from. Uh, like I said, documentation's been kind of the difficult part, seeing as how I don't really know how to document it well. Um, I'll write out as much as I can in as like vast detail as I can, but I don't really see it being something that's going to be easy to write down. So hopefully my brain stays intact for long enough, or I figure out a way to actually write everything down so it makes sense. So, uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. Fun little side note: if you are actually watching this for any reason, you might notice that there's a big red welt on my lip for some reason. Like I got a bug bite or whatever, and yeah, I woke up with the entire like top left side of my lip just completely swollen. It looked like I had Botox. Um, but yeah, it hurts like a motherfucker. So yeah, uh, just in case that's been distracting. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Sorry this video is coming out a little late, but hey, it's whatever. Um, yeah, with that, uh, you know, thank you for listening or watching or whatever. Like and subscribe if you want or care to. I don't really, not really mean too much to me at the moment, but I'd appreciate it nonetheless. And yeah, see you next time. Peace.